Hey guys, Bart from TST Industries here. Welcome to TST Garage. Today with me is the Kawasaki ZX-4RR. We're going to be talking about some pit performance components. In front of me you see our new GP lifter slash captive chain adjuster set. Why would we need this part? Well, if you work on your wheels a lot, if you're in a track environment a lot, and you need to take your wheels off and get tires mounted, removed, you know that this bike will just puke out parts on you as soon as that axle's out. And then to put them all back in, you need like 7 hands. So we're here to solve that problem for you in 2 ways. First, the kit you see in front of me, then captive wheel spacers. Most people have heard of wheel spacers already. They space your wheel away from the wheel's mounting area. I'll quickly touch on that. We're talking about these components here, but this is very worth mentioning because it's also a part that couples with this set very well, so let's touch on that really briefly. Factory wheel spacers are heavy and cylindrical. As soon as you take the wheel off, they just pop out of their seals. They also have a very flat end, so they don't help ramp the wheel in. So in a fast-paced change, you're really monkeying with all these components, moving around. That's why you need 7 hands. With our wheel spacers, I'm holding 2 different samples here, one's for rear, one's for front. The common theme is we do have the appropriate diameter to fit into the oil seal and engage with the bearing, but then there's a little lip on here that will catch inside the oil seal and prevent that from coming out, most likely in a very unopportune time. Then we have a large flange with a ramping geometry that enables you to just throw that wheel in with a lot more confidence, a lot more oomph, a lot speedier. All right, these components are available separately. We do have a video showing you how to mount that on the bike. Check that out on our YouTube channel. And know that if you couple up the spacers with this kit, you will have a very robust means of removing and replacing the wheel in the rear. Now, all right, back to the meat of this video. I have some really nice 6061 aluminum components that we milled on our CNC machinery. We have a very nice adjustment method that is captured into the swing arm when the wheel's removed. You remove the wheel, you remove the axle, nothing pukes out on you. Everything stays put and the axle goes back into the same exact place you removed it from. So there's no need for adjustment of the chain every single time you drop the wheel. That is just golden in my book. Let me tell you how we designed these things. The swing arm on this particular bike and some of the other low-cost commuter type bikes that we've been working with and racing in the last couple of years, it's made of stamped steel that becomes a weldment on a jig. Now, these types of components do have a considerable amount of tolerance in how they're built, so we have to make those considerations in preparing this part for manufacture. That's why you will see a lot of ramped geometry on here so that you can actually engage it with a varying tolerance of the swing arm. On our bike, this goes in with contact. On some bikes, it's gonna be just a little bit looser. On some bikes, you are gonna have to use a little bit of help from a mallet to tap it in. But this is meant to be a captive part, meaning it does not fall out when you take out the wheel and axle. So to aid that, we couple this up by default in a set with a GP lifter. The GP lifter captures the mounting point, the screw boss on the swing arm that is meant for a spool, and then captures this cap. While this is inserted all the way into the swing arm, this mounts to the swing arm via the GP lifter and becomes immobilized so that when you need to move your axle in or out, you turn this captive stainless nut here and that pushes or pulls on the adjuster that is within the swing arm that accepts your axle through. It's a very nice system. We've used these systems on many different bikes. We've made them for the Groms, all generation Groms, R3, Ninja 400, Ninja 300, many of the bikes that have the very cheapy, low budget designed swing arms. On the bigger bikes like ZX-6R, ZX-10R, they have a very nice geometry that is milled out of aluminum. Everything's super precise and all the components are external. So those are much easier to deal with. We really wanted to solve the issue for you guys that have the issue with these lower budget bikes, and this is really the biz. Once you try it, you'll never go back. That's what happened to me. All right. These components are very, very easy to install on the bike. A couple little trick areas that I will talk about. We only really need basic tools. Let's stop yapping here, get on the bike and have some fun. Before we get going with the installation, I wanted to go over several details and requirements for using the new kit with this bike. What you see here is a standard spool type lift point with a standard fork type lifter that engages in this way, and that lifts the bike up. That is the most prevalent way of lifting the bike. Most people have spools. Now, if you move away from using spools and opt for a GP lifter type setup, like the one included in this kit, now you see that the fork is actually on the bike and you will need a spooled lifter like the one I'm holding here. That engages with the bike in this way, and the added advantage here is that the fork on the lifter here is able to capture the spool from the stand easier, so you could target in and go up with less fuss and less precision required. That's an added element, but you do have to have the appropriate stand, and that's why I needed to present this up front. All right, we're gonna need a 12mm and a 4mm open-ended wrench. I do not have the axle loosened. This is vastly easier with the axle fully tightened down, torqued, and the wheel in place. I'm gonna remove the lock nut, the washer, subsequently the main adjustment nut. That unlocks my end cap here. Carefully gonna withdraw this. As you can see, before we even take it off, this cast piece has quite a bit of movement. It's not meant to be captured in there. That's why it's so easy to push it in and take it out. Now for our parts, we needed to make that much, much tighter so that it captures itself in there, and then it's helped by the GP lifter screwed onto it and into the swing arm to keep it all in place. We want this as immobilized as possible so that when you unlock the axle and turn the adjustment nut here, it pushes and pulls this without dislodging itself. So, okay, this cap, main adjustment nut, go away. We're gonna retain our washer and the lock nut. Now we have to pick the appropriate component for the right side here. You want to be able to see the TST towards the outside. They are, end caps are mirror image. So you want to have the TST to the outside. I'm going to align the threads from this nut with the adjuster and very carefully start turning that in. This was our main R&D bike, so this will have a decently easy fit in here. We will touch all of the surfaces, but we will not have a lot of resistance to turning this in. You can see I'm still getting it in by hand, but in order to not alter where the axle sits, we need to be very careful. Otherwise, we will need to unlock everything and redo the chain tension, which, by the way, I do think that it's a good idea to get all of this mounted and then redo your chain tension anyway, but this procedure here will give you the ability to at least mount the parts without having to go crazy lifting the bike one way and putting it on and taking it down. It just gets a little hairy, so this is the procedure I prefer. Does need a few taps here and there to go in aligned. If it's not going in aligned, then we do need to make sure that it actually does. Give it a couple taps this way or that way, whatever will make it actually go in same distance top and bottom. Now once we have contact here and here, that's it. We do not want to start exerting too much pull force on the axle and adjuster system. If your wheelbase is long enough here, you could use the washer and the lock nut, and mine is. If you run out of space on this adjuster screw, then you only want to do the lock nut. So I will lock this down for now, but we will need to unlock it if we go to change our chain tension. I will not be going over that in this video because this is not a how to tension your chain video. I would expect that anybody buying Pit Performance parts already knows how to do their own chain tension. Let's grab our lifter set, or lifter for the right side. Again, the TST Industries inscriptions and the logos go to the outside. If you have a smooth side, that goes inside. They are mirror image components. They do come with the appropriate hardware. I'm gonna engage this. The front hole is round. The rear is a slot, gives us the ability to adjust a little bit and account for tolerance. They do require a 6mm Allen. And I am torquing this to 18 foot-pounds. Okay, the right side is done. The left side is the same exact procedure with the mirror image parts, so I will not be talking over this part. I will just perform the steps necessary. All right, that's it for the install. At this point, we can bring our GP stand into view. Boom, nice and easy. Now, all of these components are captive. We already have the captive wheel spacers on here, so if I were to remove this wheel, nothing falls out. It's very easy to deal with. I love this setup. My chain seems to be in the right place and I'm comfortable with it. I highly recommend that you guys do follow up and do go through the chain tightening adjustment procedure. When you do, you'll notice that you do have tick marks here that you can rely on to see how much you've turned the adjuster in or out. All right, that's pretty much it on this topic. I want to thank you for watching. If you like what you see here, check out tstindustries.com. We have these components ready to go, ready to ship to you. We also have other parts, as you can see, for this bike and other parts for other bikes you may have in your stable. So check us out, tstindustries.com. Also, I like comments. Please send me some comments. I want to know what you guys think about these parts and our installation videos. We can only get better if you help us through the comments. Hit like and subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, thanks for watching again. See you later. Ride safe.